it's Loopers here. Welcome to this masterclass. Today I'm gonna explain you how I made my track I'm Odd on Stem Recordings, and we're gonna deconstruct the track, look at the intro section, look at the build-up, and look at the drop. So first off, I will show you how I came up with the idea of the track. I normally always start with like a breakbeat loop and with the intro part, and after that I make the build up, and then finally at last aspect of this song is the drop. So in this song I'm gonna mute these channels here so you can hear purely the breakbeat that I started off with. First we're gonna play the breakbeat. So that's the breakbeat groove I use for the intro, and then I just went searching for samples, and in a pack I found this sample that says I'm odd, and I really like the word I'm odd, and I wanted to interpolate that in my track. So that breakbeat with that vocal together, I sampled it like this. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. So when I had that, I went looking for a lower bass element that plays, because right now we have like the breakbeat playing in the mid sections and high sections mostly, and the vocal in the mid and high section as well. And I wanted a lower bass that would like fill up that part. So for that, I use Serum. Processing I will go to later, but together it sounds like this. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. So the processing that I did on this one, let me go to that channel. Actually didn't do any processing, there's only a sidechain plugin on it. So after that, so I had the breakbeat, I had the vocal, the bass playing underneath it, but I was looking for a synth kind of sound that would fill up the mid section to the high sections. So I came up with this sound from Spire. So all of this together sounds like this. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. So right now we have the bass playing, we have the top synth lead, we have the breakbeat, and we have the vocal. So in my feeling, this was already like sounded proper and cool enough for an intro. So I just, only thing that I added to this are like some background vocal chant that sounds like this. Okay, so if we play these things together, you get this. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. You know who it is, you know I'm odd, you know what it is. So that's for the intro part. And then here in the build-up, odd, you know what it is. So I think the unique part in this build-up is this guitar lead you hear. So I came up with this melody, but it had a total different sound. And what I really wanted here was to have the real organic, real guitar feel. So After I made the melody, I hit up a very good friend of mine, and he just played it on his guitar for me, and he recorded it, and um, that's how I could get the real organic sound to it. And I incorporated this in this track, and I do it also in other tracks. I'm always looking for a way to mix organic with digital sounds. I think that gives the extra edge to the production. So in the rest of the build up, actually, the vocal just loops, as you can see here, and then the bass keeps playing, and I added some background vocals here, and altogether it sounds like this. So right now I explained how I came up with the idea for the intro. We have talked about the build up and the organic elements in it, so the guitar. And I want to now jump to the drop. So my drops mostly exist from a A and a B section. So let's play it and listen. When I say A, B, I mean this with A. That's the A part. And then this is the B part. What I'm always try to have this approach of question and answer. So the A part is the question and the B part is the answer. And if you combine these two in a cool way, you always keep the attention of the listener, I think, because you build some kind of tension between switching from A to B. And I think that's a very cool thing to do in productions. And for the ones that know my sounds and know my music, is that I apply a lot of A, B in my drops. So let's go deeper into the drop and these sections. So to start off with, I will mute all the synths and the top leads and the basses, and go to the fundamentals of the drop. Is the kick drum. So this is the kick drum. So as you can hear, the kick mostly exists out of a body and doesn't have really a click to it. So I separate my kick in two parts, the body part and the click part, the punch. So together, but the punch sounds like this. Next up, there's a clap that I use a lot. It's from the 909 or 808 pack from Roland. And I layered it with another clap that gives a kind of crunch at the beginning of the clap. So this is what I have for the bass and for my drop, but the next thing I do in this process is looking for the right bass sound that gives the groove to it. So I'm talking about this. So what is this sound? This sound is a serum sound as well. And I want to go into the processing with you. So this sound would sound without the chain. So what does my chain do? Here I just cut it a little bit of the low frequencies. I didn't cut a lot because there's no other bass element playing in the drop. So I just wanted to keep the bass from the original sound. After that, I use the wow filter. I would just reopen this and show you how I work. So I replace this by a new wow filter. And I just put it on vowel mode. Click here on band reject. And then I find the best combination. For me, a lot that works is the I to the O with two dots on it, this one. And I just turn this a little bit back and give this a little bit overdrive. So this is now with the filter and the EQ. So you can hear how the wow filter gives this extra tube kind of distortion effect to it. So the wow filter also adds new frequencies. So what I wanted to do is to cut a little bit more of the lows here and boost some certain other frequencies and duck some other frequencies in the high. All together sounding like this. So after that I did some limiting with the L2 stereo, and I did some sidechaining by the Nicky Remember Kickstart plugin. So the aspects of the drop played together without the top lead and the bass sounds like this. Actually, what you can see is like this drop contains very few elements, and I think that's in essence is important as a producer to achieve a good track, a good sound with as less elements as possible, because I really believe in less is more, you know. So for the top lead, I just used splice for this one from a Crane sample pack. This sound, but some processing on it though. Without processing would sound like. So this is the melody. This is with processing, this is without. So what did I do here? I need to move this one up and down. So what I did, I cut a little bit of the low frequencies up to 100 Hertz, and I did some notch EQ here where I deleted the irritating higher frequencies. After that, I used the OTT. It's a free and very good multiband compressor, what I recommend you guys use. After that OTT, it also adds new low frequencies to the sound that you don't want. So I did another low cut and I did some boost in the highs. And then I used Stereo Maker for putting my sound in stereo. I can recommend this one. Here you use the stereo expansion button, and here you can decide of what frequency you want it to be mono. For the reverb, I used the Art Acoustic reverb, and I then did some limiting on the sound. And after that, some side chaining only. So altogether, the A part sounds like this. Let's go to the B part. The B part actually consists the same kind of bass, but like with a little bit of a notch filter on it. Maybe you can hear the difference between the A section and the B section in the bass. There's a slight difference in bass, what makes the gives it a little bit of contrast, and I like that sound. For the other part of for the drop, I use another serum sound as well. I'm gonna go to the processing of it. So what did I use here? I did some low cutting. I boosted the mids a little bit and the highs. Then again, I used the wow filter in the same vowel mode and the same band check option. After the wow filter, I cutted some of the low frequencies again, give it some reverb, and then I did some limiting. So not that much happening there actually. All this together, you have this. So this is like the main concept of the drop. And for fillers, I use stabs. This is from a Vengeance pack. So this is as a filler here. And here in the B part, I added some percussion to give more groove to it. You can hear the percussion here with the bass. And without. So yeah, that's mainly what I did for the drop. In the second part of the drop, it's exactly the same principle. The only thing that I added are these hi-hats on the halftime. That gives an extra groove to it. You know who it is, you know So yeah, that's actually how I made I'm Out. As you can see, the track doesn't contain many elements. It's a quite simple track, but I think the whole essence is in keeping it simple. Hope you enjoyed this masterclass, and cheers.
You know what it is, you know I'm hard, you know what it is.